Now, astute viewers of GameSpot Stage 1 E3 may notice some slight differences here on stage. My next guest, Corey Olsvary, has Pikmins the whole place up. He's just like sticking Pikmins all over the place. He's got them on him, on his microphone. Corey's here from Nintendo Treehouse to talk about Pikmin 3. Corey, welcome to the stage.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
Make yourself at home, as you clearly have already. Pikmin 3 is shown at E3 here, but we're not seeing a lot of the sort of traditional single-player Pikmin marshalling your different crews to accomplish that campaign goal. You guys are showing different modes.
Right. As you mentioned, first of all, thank you for having me, Chris. It's great to be here. As you mentioned, we're excited to be showing Pikmin 3 here at E3. Here we're going to be showing 2 additional modes. Of course, the story mode is an integral part to the Pikmin series. This time in this Pikmin game, you're going to be it's going to be similar gameplay. You're going to be using, the great thing about Pikmin games, of course, is commanding these hordes of tiny, adorable Pikmin creatures to battle these dangerous predators.
Ordering them about at your whim, sending them to their doom.
Absolutely. And here today we've got actually a mode called Bingo Battle. This is a competitive 2-player multiplayer mode. It is very frenetic. And, you'll be able to see here we're going to have Alf, one of the new protagonists, is facing off against Captain Olimar.
I mean, he's the captain. He's going to win every time, right? No.
We'll
Bingo Battle on the Shaded Terrace. This is a head-to-head multiplayer mode in Pikmin 3, and we're sort of seeing the split-screen view. This is obviously happening locally on one box.
This is, yes, a local multiplayer mode. So right off the bat, you'll see split down the screen. You're going to start out with an explorer on each side. You kind of start with 5 Pikmin. Again, for those of you that aren't familiar with the franchise, these Pikmin creatures, you're actually controlling the captain or the leader directly, and you're throwing these Pikmin creatures at these objects. They'll bring them back to your home base. In this case, they're bringing back these little yellow pellets to increase, basically propagate. And seeds will pop out of the onion there to increase your forces.
So at this point in the game, I mean, this is almost playing out like an RTS. Like you've got your troops, you're collecting resources to then build your army and then take it to your team, to your opponent.
So yeah, so the name Bingo Battle, absolutely. The objective is you'll see a bingo board actually on both sides of the screen. So player 2,
these grids of fruits and bugs are.
You've got enemies, you've got fruit, you've got objects to bring back. So if you create a line in any direction, vertical, horizontal, diagonal, 4 in a row,
Bingo.
You will win. Bingo, exactly. So you'll see player 2 and player 1, but they both have collected 1 item apiece there. Somebody's awoken the giant Bulborb, it looks like, on the right side. So
is that going to cause some trouble for someone? I mean, it looks like they're trying to take him on.
These characters are iconic in the franchise. These Bulborbs, they look so innocent, and you can see he just gobbled up about 4 or 5 of player 2's Pikmin crew there.
Yeah, that's a pretty sinister beast there for all of its, red butt cuteness.
One thing we're actually not seeing here that's brand new to the series is actually the new Pikmin types. You're going to have rock and winged Pikmin as well. You'll be able to use them in Bingo Battle, different maps. And of course, they have new abilities to break crystal, glass, or of course the winged cute. The pink Pikmin are, the winged Pikmin can fly, and they're absolutely adorable. But
that's pretty, I mean, other Pikmin, you're adorable too. We don't want to slight them; they might get angry. But so we're seeing red and yellow Pikmin here. How is that affecting the? And actually, the red player, the first player, just made a bid to maybe try to steal the giant bulba guy.
Yeah, the great thing is you can actually block other players. If you'll notice on the left side, the player actually got a blue marble, so the blue marble is illuminated. So if you look at the right bingo board, you'll see this red cross. So he's essentially blocked the second player from getting a bingo in that direction.
Yeah, and this isn't, I mean, this multiplayer map, both players, their bases are not very far away from each other, so you can scout it. And this, I guess, a quick view of the Wii U gamepad showing the mini map that gives you an idea of where the things are you might need to block your opponent with.
Right. So right now we're looking at that overhead gamepad map. You might put this on your coffee table while you're playing that quick overview.
Actually, yes, we are. Yeah, that's yeah.
Yep. So that's the overhead map there. Yep. So you'll be able to see, if you need that one last piece of fruit, you'll know where you can go to grab that. That last apple. Quick glance at the Wii U gamepad. So yeah, back here it looks like player 1, all they need is an apple and a golden strawberry. But actually, one other thing I can talk about are the, and player 2 needs one more, but it just happens to be the blue marble, which he cannot get. So.
There's no stealing it back from the other player?
Unfortunately, once the bingo board is illuminated, that blue marble stays with player 1. Both players actually now have collected cherries, though, so you'll notice player 2 actually just kind of struck down lightning and kind of phased player 1 a little bit. Player 1 has, if you look in the upper left hand of the screen, they've got these like rocks. If they push down on the plus control pad, they can actually drop these huge rocks on the second player to kind of even the match out, you know. In Bingo Battle, this really is this frenetic mode where to win, you can either try to go for all the items that you need to get a bingo, or you can just go at another way to win. You can just take your opponent out and destroy all of his Pikmin. That's another way to win. So
now it also looks like it's possible for, like, let's take a look at the red player's board. 1, 2 are blocked out on a diagonal. If the other player goes 3, 4 and blocks out a diagonal line across, there's no way that player can get 4 in a row.
So if that's actually correct. That's a really good strategy one could do to basically, if they wanted to be a really big jerk and just go straight to the point and shut it down. However, there are additional things. You can get what they call lucky marbles. So if a game lasts a little bit too long, you can bring a lucky marble. They'll kind of eventually pop up in random places on the map. They'll give you kind of a roulette spin on your bingo board, which allows you to even fill in those red crossed out items.
So it'll pick a random thing, and it could maybe be the red crossed out item. Okay.
Right.
What if it goes on too long? How long are we looking at for one of these multiplayer matches? How long? I mean, you guys clearly have an idea of how long an ideal match would be. If you're bringing in that lucky marble to kind of shake things up towards the end.
In the treehouse at Nintendo, we've had matches last as long as like 2 minutes. Those were very shameful matches. But this map here is very close quarters combat. You've got both home bases very close to each other. Oh, and it looks like the lime is coming back. Player 1 can try to make a last-ditch effort to stop him.
Does not.
And it's not going to happen this time. So player 2, actually, red team got the victory there.
Huzzah!
It's so satisfying. I know if you have a competitive bone in your body, playing this mode just brings out the trash talk in one's Pikmin vocabulary.
Speaking of which, I was talking with GameSpot editor Tom McShay earlier about Pikmin 3. He went over to the Nintendo booth and played it, and he basically described this mode to me as like a griefer's paradise, because that is how he loves to play games, and I bet a lot of you also like that. Yeah, like that scenario I mentioned during the demo. It's if your play can just be totally anti the other player as opposed to pro your team.
One of my favorite things to do is, I want to see what the other player needs, and yeah, I will intentionally go out and block that as soon as I know what they're doing. So tons of strategy opportunities here, and the more you play these maps, in fact, here at E3, the maps are going to always be the same with the item location, but in the full game, you're actually going to have a variety. Like this map in particular, Stagnant Sea, it's got some water elements, but there's different elements. So even though you're playing the Stagnant Sea multiple times, different enemies might come out. You might be playing it with different Pikmin types. So there's even variety to individual boards.
Cool. Now this is the Bingo Battle mode in Pikmin 3. Is it a local multiplayer mode only?
So with Bingo Battle, this is a local multiplayer, 2 players. So for some online things that we do have, we've got Miiverse functionality in the game's story mode. And one of the cool things about that is it utilizes the Wii U gamepad as a first-person camera. So if you're a fan of the Pikmin series, you know that these games are usually kind of third-person, kind of overview, 3/4 of the field.
You're seeing right here, yeah.
But the first-person camera gives you the ability to see the world, these kind of lush environments from the explorer's perspective. So when you see a giant bulborb, or one of the new enemies is actually called the Peckish Aristocrab.
Peckish Aristocrab.
Is
it a crab with a top hat?
He is a crab. He actually spits bubbles. Your Pikmin will get like kind of stuck in these bubbles, and he's got this claw he'll block you with, and he'll just devour your Pikmin one by one, or maybe 5 at a time, whatever he's in the mood for.
That sounds unpleasant. So there's another multiplayer. This is obviously an adversarial, competitive multiplayer mode, but you guys also have some cooperative experiences as well.
So yeah, so mission mode is one of the 3 modes. We're showing off here, or one of the modes we're showing off here at E3. In mission mode, it's kind of a time attack mode where you've got a lot of different maps, and you're timed maybe 8 to 10 minutes to try to get as much treasure as you can, or try to defeat as many enemies as you can. And that can be played solo or with up to 2 players. So if you have maybe someone in your family, that maybe isn't quite sure if they want to give the game a try yet, it's a really great way to kind of introduce the game to and the series to them.
Nice. Now, Pikmin series has had a few entries in the past, but it's been a little while for Pikmin. So you guys have stuck with it. Now you're coming out with Pikmin 3, which has really these 3 separate modes of play. The single player, which is actually tends to be a little more slow-paced and methodical, I think, and then these competitive and cooperative experiences. How did you sort of decide, like, all right, we want to create all these different kinds of Pikmin gameplay?
I think the answer is, with Nintendo in general, we try to create these experiences for everyone. So, you've got, if this is your first Pikmin game, it's been over, as you mentioned, almost 10 years since the original release of Pikmin 2 on Nintendo GameCube. This will be the mini player's first Pikmin game. So, starting out in story mode, you can kind of take your time with story mode to kind of get used to the environments, the Pikmin behavior themselves. Just get used to the
throwing arm warmed up.
Exactly. And so story mode kind of gives players the freedom to kind of get used and get the hang of the game, because it is the first time you see it, you're like, maybe what are these Pikmin creatures doing, and why is this billboard beating all these?
Why are they beating up that poor 2-legged animal with the adorable polka dot butt?
One of my favorite things actually right here, I don't know if player 1 will be able to do this right now, but you can actually now scan an enemy with the Z button. You can lock onto him. And instead of throwing Pikmin 1 by 1, you can actually cause your Pikmin to swarm like he's doing there. And all of your Pikmin, he blows the horn, and all of your Pikmin swarm. In modes like this, where time is very important, when you're trying to be as efficient as possible, you may not want to push the A button to throw each Pikmin individually. It's also very frustrating when you see your opponent swarming 30 Pikmin, 40 Pikmin at you while you're trying to get your last treasure to create a bingo.
Well, we just had a little bit of a conflict over the giant Bulbabug thing, whose name I forgot, right then. And then what I think I saw was the one player being chased by the other's Pikmin.
So yeah, if you actually toss your individual Pikmin at the opponent's Explorer, they'll basically just start thwacking them, and he'll have to basically kind of shake them off with the left control stick. Again, one of those things that's very satisfying to do when you're the one throwing the Pikmin at the opponent. So,
again, Pikmin 3, a griefer's paradise. All right, Corey, Pikmin 3, this is a look at Bingo Battle Mode, local multiplayer for Pikmin 3. And when are folks going to be able to play Pikmin 3 on their Wii U?
The game, Pikmin 3, launches August 4th in North America. So really looking forward to that right around the corner.
All right, Corey, you've been showing off some Nintendo stuff here on the stage today, and I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming by again.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, and we are going to head over to, if I didn't hear Ryan McDonald incorrectly, Zumba? Zumba.